Funding for this program made possible by Ohio County Tourism. Thank you for your support.
You would not even have, the ability to come in and actually see things, and that's what museums are. They're holders. They're housing the artifacts for people to actually see, and it would not be there without that. Well, Northern Kentucky's history lives at Behringer-Crawford Museum, and it's all because of 3 individuals that helped put all of this, the museum together. So we like to call them the colorful characters of Covington. So it started with the DeVue family. It was their home and their land that was donated to the city of Covington in 1910, and they had asked specifically in their will that their home become an art museum or a library. And it took a while for that to happen, but it was more into about the 1950s than it was actually 1950 when the museum finally did open. And it opened because of the collections of a Covingtonian named William Behringer, who traveled all over the world, and he collected items wherever he went. Mr. Crawford was the first curator, so he was the man who the city hired to be able to come in and make sense of the collections that William Behringer's family had donated, and also because of Mr. Crawford's skills in archaeology. It was Mr. Crawford who started diving in more into Northern Kentucky history, and he did that through his archaeological excavations. So Mr. Crawford excavated prehistoric sites. So today we know about the prehistoric Indians that lived in Northern Kentucky due to his work, and we know about the Ice Age mammals that lived and congregated at the Big Bone Lick State Park. So the museum closed in the late 1970s, and citizens formed, rallied back behind it, and said we really need to keep this great cultural attraction available and left to remain in Northern Kentucky. And so a board of trustees was formed, and from that point forward we've been operating independently from the city, but in great partnership with them as well. It was Mr. Crawford that started us on the road in presenting and maintaining Northern Kentucky's history. So prior to that, we had a wide range of natural history items, as well as some curiosity items. So when Mr. Behringer passed away, his collections included a hairball from a cow stomach, or the world's tiniest dog, or the shrunken head. And the 2-headed calf, for which many people remember the museum by, came to us after Mr. Crawford started here, as it was an attraction in a tavern just right down the road from where the museum is located, called the Lewis Street Zoo. So we went from that, and we've transformed into this fantastic treasure trove for Northern Kentucky. So we have things that represent all the story. We have the artifacts, we maintain the artifacts that help tell the story of Northern Kentucky settlement and development. So we pride ourselves here at Behringer-Crawford in keeping things new and fresh. And so we rotate galleries several times, even our permanent displays, what we would consider permanent displays. The items within those displays will rotate out at least yearly. We have new exhibits that are being built. We have a wonderful rails gallery that will be opening up this year as well in 2016. We have a U.S. motor truck built by Stewart Iron Works here in Covington. They only built it for 12 years, and ours was built in 1924, so that will all be on display. Our rotating exhibits, we have 2 to 3 per year. We're known for a great family tradition during the holiday season, which is our holiday toy trains. And that brings in thousands and thousands of families that come in to enjoy that at a time when everyone's together during the winter season. So even though we have this beautiful facility, we expanded and added an additional 15,000 square feet in 2007. to be able to take the DeVue family home and expand it to be able to have additional space for our educational programs and more exhibits and different activities for the community. We are in this beautiful green space in DeVue Park. We had a hillside on the back side of the museum that was virtually unnoticed. It was overgrown and not really accessible for any kind of activity. When we were approached by the DeVue Good Project and said, we can help create this into a wonderful playground and an area for children to learn. So we have formed this fantastic partnership to be able to take some of the museum's mission, some of the museum's programming, and take it from outside our walls and put it into nature. So the Nature Play at BCM will open in the summer of 2016, and it's a fantastic playground. It's really there for children. It's for children to get lost and explore into nature. So there's wooded areas, there's playground areas, but the playground areas are a learning ability as well. So there's a giant trilobite from our prehistoric era that children can climb on. There's little sand pits where they'll be able to uncover fossils and bones from especially like Ice Age animal fossils. Not real ones, they will be cast, but there's cabins where they can learn how the early settlers and the pioneers would have lived. There's a cruise line so they can zip through history, and they can be on a boat and they can tug the boat across the river, so a flat boat, so they can act like they're going across the river. You know, if there would be no more museum, it'd be a sad state for our community not to be able to have a museum in the Northern Kentucky region. And I'll tell you why, because museums are all about authenticism. They're all about having items in their collections that really tell the story, really tell the truth about families, about the community, about whatever it may happen to be. And it's all about the stories. It's all about the people. You cannot have a community without the people that are in that community. History is not all on its own. You know, you take the oral histories, you take your family stories, you take what documents and photographs and information that you can find in libraries, courthouses, wherever, and you combine everything as well as knowing the time period as well and be able to put all that in together. But it ends up creating new stories, new history. You know, archaeology is the same way. As soon as you start doing an archaeological excavation, you can uncover buildings, you can uncover factories, you can uncover more prehistoric information. You can, every time you can dig and do an actual archaeological excavation, you can uncover pieces of history that may have never been known before. That's the exciting part about being in a museum and about being part of history in motion.